Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mumbles Community Council monthly meeting for July the 14th, 2026. Before we start the meeting, we've obviously started with some bad news of the passing of a prominent local person, Bonnie Tyler. One of the members of the council, Councillor Rob Marshall, was obviously good friends with Bonnie Tyler. So I'm gonna pass over to Rob just to say a few words, then we'll have a minute's silence. Thanks.
Thank you, Will. Yes, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, anybody who's watching, last week we had some rather sudden and very sad news that Bonnie Tyler had passed away. She carried the name of Mumbles, Swansea and Skewing, where she was born, all over the world. She was a global superstar and an icon, and reading the tributes that have been pouring in online and the messages I've had as well, she was loved by everybody, not just in the business, royalty, all over the world. I mean, I don't think we all realise how big she was throughout the world. She had a number of awards in her life, the MBE being the latest one from Prince William. She was also a Doctor of Literature from Swansea University, had the Freedom of Neath and Port Talbot, an honorary fellow with the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama, and she was the first person to receive the Lord Mayor of Swansea's award a number of years ago, which I attended with her. She was a big supporter of local charities and ambassador to a lot of national charities, including the Anti-Heroin Project, Phoenix House Charities, Ferry Aid, Allboys Children's Centre, the Cerebral Palsy, Noah's Ark Children Hospice of Wales, AAG Animal Charity, Children in Need, One World, One Home, Homeless Charity, Longfields Day Centre, Maggie Centre. Those are just a number of the things, and I know from fact that when she was asked to turn up at local events to support them or open them, it was always free of charge and for the community, and to do that. Mumbles mourns Bonnie Tyler. For me, a 40-year friendship. Beautiful girl who became part of my family and made me part of hers. So off you will.
Thanks very much, Rob. It's very well said and some nice points in there. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are able to stand, we'll stand for a minute silent or online. If you could turn your camera, please, as well. Thank you. Thank you very much. Item number one, apologies for absence.
I have four apologies. Councillors Richard Jarvis, Phil Keaton, Sarah Keaton and Martin O'Neill.
Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest? So anything on the agenda that Laura?
Yeah, the grant application from First Mumbles Scout Group, because I'm a member of the group trustee board or management committee, whatever we're called now. I have to declare a prejudicial interest in that.
That's great. Okay, anything else for anything else? Rebecca?
Yeah, just the usual declaration of interest as a city councillor for any item that has relationship with Swansea Council, but prejudicial in addition on the Underhill items due to being in the cabinet at Swansea Council.
There's city and county councillors as well, so if there's anything on the agenda for us both related to us. Okay, next is public participation, where people can submit questions. They need to submit them obviously before the meeting, and it has to be about something on the meeting. I don't see anyone.
There's some people on.
Have we had any questions submitted? I haven't got anything in my notes, no. Okay, so if anyone, if there is anyone, Ian's just gonna.
There's nobody in the lobby, is there?
Mark was here.
He's there.
Is he out?
Okay, so yeah, public participation requires people to submit questions beforehand, so we haven't had anything there. So moving on is the presentation from Athol Wells Limited. Now this was related to the tender that, or the expression of interest rather, that Swansea Council put out on Langland Tennis Courts, which is the double tennis court, single tennis court and the toilet block. I believe that's going to Cabinet in September. And the Swansea Council were made aware of this on the agenda and didn't think it was appropriate that someone did a presentation towards MCC. So they have been notified that it's probably not a good idea while there's a tender going on for that. Okay, Rebecca, we saw your hand up, but
yeah. Sorry, I'll just take advice then on whether I need to have declared the prejudicial interest in an item that we're now not hearing, whether for the notes, the minutes, I need to have declared it. But obviously I won't leave because we're not having it.
Yeah, I think as long as it's obviously not, as long as we put in the minutes, obviously that it didn't take place, I'm sure that's good enough. Yeah. Okay, so item number 5 is to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 9th of August. Sorry. Trick
That would be clever.
Yeah, we're going in our time machines. Okay, so is there anything on that?
I can't see them in the press online, either.
I don't actually seem to have them in my very big pack of papers here. So if we haven't, we can defer that to the next meeting. If we could be added to the next pack, please, Ian, and we'll defer the June minutes to the next meeting, please. Okay, so Chair's report. I haven't got a report, but I've written some notes today. That I'll just go over. So I attended the One Voice Wales conference, which with all the staff, and Carrie, Councillor Carrie Townsend-Jones came as well. She wouldn't want to miss one of those, would you, Carrie? Yeah, top of your list of fun things to do. So yeah, it was very, very helpful and good to see us how we work compared and with other community councils and town councils across Wales. So very informative, interesting, and I'm sure Kerry will come on later and talk about how we did in the awards and things and where we were recommended. But yeah, I think it's clear to see that Mobbles Community Council's on the map there for across Wales, and a lot of people are talking about us, especially our environmental work and obviously a lot of other things that the council's doing very well, such as Underhill. That was brought up in the conference and offline as well at the chat. So big well done to everyone with regards to that. Just on a sort of more what's going on in the area, we've obviously got the Langland CCTV going in pretty soon. Hopefully staff will, Swansea Council staff hopefully have it done by the end of the week, but if not, very soon, and hopefully that'll help reduce or be a deterrent certainly to antisocial behaviour, especially in the car park at Langland. My colleague Councillor Angela O'Connor, rather, did a lot of work with the dispersal order at Langland over the last couple of weeks. It's been great to see the police put a bit more effort in down Langland, and the dispersal order doesn't stop anyone enjoying the beach. It just gives the police extra powers to move people on so they can't come back. So people can still enjoy the beach, but it gives the police a bit of extra power. So they are reluctant to put them in. They don't put them in any old place, any old time. So, you know, it shows that the level of issues down there, but it also shows that the police are working with us very well to hopefully, you know, try and improve the situation, which I would say it has somewhat, so which is great. Underhill, we're doing the barbecues now. All the staff doing the Friday barbecues. I think if anyone's not been to one, try and pencil it in because they're a lot of fun. Open mic, well not open mic, sorry. Someone might. You wouldn't want an open mic, would we? No, certainly not. Yeah, that would be a fun one actually. Let's do it. Karaoke barbecue. Yeah, it would.
With the new
Yeah. We want people to come back, mind. So yeah, that they've been real success and a great atmosphere. So encourage anyone who can to come down to those. And obviously the hub's going from strength to strength. So a big thanks to all the staff down there, and it is coming on leaps and bounds all the time. The Woodland Paths, which the community council were very heavily involved in, they're coming on really well. I don't know if anyone's snuck past the do not walk past this thing, but you know, some rebels among us might have. And you know, they do look really good, and the drainage it does seem to be improved, and I think the gates are going in pretty soon because I noticed all that's been cut back. So not long till they're all sorted, and they'll be a real asset. Southend Gardens, we've hopefully got a volunteer. It's one of the things that's been coming up on the doorstep a lot. Is Southend Gardens isn't looking great. Hennebont Gardens isn't looking great. And now with the seawall looking so fantastic. Later on in the agenda, there's something about Hennebont Gardens, so I won't talk about that. But certainly Southend Gardens, the council budgets these days with parks, they're not what they were. So trying to work around that, a lot of local volunteers have offered their time. So Sarah, our volunteer coordinator, is trying to coordinate a crack team of volunteers to take care of Southend Park. So watch this space on that one, just making everyone aware. And this weekend, Raft Race 40th year. So, you know, share it wide. It's what, you know, one of the village's best traditions, in my opinion, and hopefully it'll, you know, start to get back to what it was 10, 20 years ago with a really good committee who are really keen, a little bit of funding from the council, and I think everyone loves it. New seawall, more space, fantastic. So hopefully it's going to come on really well. So that brings me to the end of my chair's report, and over to Kerry for the Chief Officer's report, please.
Hello everybody. So as Will's already touched on, the first week of August, 1st of July, we went to the One Voice Wales National Conference, and we took the team as a lot of the team are new to local government. So I feel it's really important that they get an understanding of how local government works and how to interact with their other colleagues and peers at their level. Part of that conference is an award ceremony where Mumbles Community Council entered 8 awards, and we won Best Environmental Project for the 2nd consecutive year. We were highly commended for 4 other categories, and commended for 3 other categories. And then yesterday, off the basis of winning the award for the 2nd time, we've been asked to go and present at the next conference they're hosting on the 30th of September, which is up in Builth Wells. So unfortunately, Mary is on holiday because I did ask Mary to do the presenting. So Mary's putting together a presentation for myself, and I'm going to go and do the presenting on that one. But ideally, I would have liked the staff member whose area of work it is to have done the presenting on that one there. So that was really positive and really lovely for the team to see that. It's very busy within the team at the moment. There's lots going on, lots of work going on behind the scenes, getting ready for the Family Fun Days, obviously all the preparations for Wildfest as well, and obviously just lots of things going on that I'll be able to update you on a little bit further when we go into closed session later on. So that's it from me, really. Thank you.
Only a quick question. Well done, brilliant. And are they free to enter the awards?
Yes.
It's not free for a ticket to the event. We have to pay for people to send people, but Okay, so moving on to item number 8, financial report, annual review of governance. In accordance with the financial regulations 2.4 of the council is required to at least once a year review the effectiveness of the systems of the internal control before approving the annual governance statement. So I think anyone who's probably run their eye over the internal audit can see that, you know, things are being handled, well, seems incredibly well and very diligently by Paul and Kerry. But is there any questions on that firstly? And how do we deal with this, Kerry? Is it just a vote on just, or is it just for noting?
If you hand over to Paul, Paul will take you through the finance report and go through everything with you that he needs you to go through, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Chair. If you have a look at one of the documents that's in the pack, it's the annual return 2025-26 version 2, V2. That gives you the, I'm echoing.
Sorry.
Okay to go? Okay, yeah, if you look at that annual return 25-26, what that gives you is the annual is the report that we need to approve later in this report, but it also gives you the annual governance statement, which I think is on the 2nd or 3rd page. So there are a list of different assertions there about what the council has done over the course of the year. It covers everything to do with finance and governance and risk management. Those individual questions, you can either go through one by one, or you can refer it, I guess, to finance to do that later in the year for covering this year. But for now, what we need to do is to really look through those questions 1 to 10, or 1 to 9 really, because 10 is not applicable. They've all been ticked as yes. So as far as the council is concerned, or as far as myself and Kerry are concerned, and the internal auditor, they're all yes. We do comply with them. But council, as ultimately responsible for all of these areas, needs to be happy that what has been said on that document is actually in reality operating across the council. So rather than go through each one individually, because I said there are a lot of things, it's just if anybody's got any questions on those assertions, and hopefully everyone will agree that we are in line.
Okay, thanks, Paul. I mean, I've been through them, and it's pretty clear that we are, in my opinion, but I don't know if we have to go through them now. Do you want to take us through them, or Kerry, do you want to? I mean, we could pass the finance to bring back if you want to save us time at full council.
What I would say is we do need to approve we need to undertake the annual review of governance now, because it's got to be done before the accounts can be approved. What I said about finance, I think, is maybe something that could be done in this financial year, say towards the end of the year. But at the moment, we do need to either go through them individually, or the council votes that they are happy with it, with everything across that statement, annual governance statement.
Want to proceed, but Paul, if you want to read them out, and if any questions arise, maybe we'll pause. But if not, because they're all, in my opinion, pretty clear. But
yeah,
if
okay.
we get to the end and there's no questions, then we'll take a block vote, or we'll pause if there's questions. So
right, okay, yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
Okay, number 1 then is, in consultation with the community, we have developed a vision and purpose for the council and used this vision to inform the council's plans, budget and activities. Any questions? Okay, second one, what I'll do is I'll carry on going through them. And then if anybody wants to ask anything, then just shout up. The second one, we have adopted a code of conduct for members and officers and implemented an appropriate training plan for members to ensure all councillors understand their role and responsibilities. Okay, third, we have ensured that we electronically publish the information the council is required to publish by law on its website at mumbles.gov.uk. So this would include things like agendas, minutes, budgets, and the accounts once they're approved. Rebecca?
It's not a question, it's just for awareness that I completed my biodiversity part 1 training last week and spotted that our section 6 biodiversity report for 2025 isn't currently on there, but Mary's already on the case. She thinks it'll be picked up as part of the transition to the new website.
Right, okay, thank you. Okay, fourth then, we have taken all reasonable steps to ensure that the council complies with relevant laws and regulations when exercising its functions, including employment of staff and payment of allowances to members. Number 5, we have adopted standing orders, financial regulations and terms of reference and ensure that these are followed when conducting business, including functions delegated to committees. So the obviously financial regs and standing orders and terms of reference for committees are approved are readopted at the annual meeting every year. So I think that's quite clear that that's in place. Number 6, we have put in place arrangements for 1, effective financial management, including the setting and monitoring of the council's budget and preparation and approval of the annual accounts. 2, maintenance and security of accurate and up-to-date data and other financial records. And 3, identifying potential liabilities, commitments, events and transactions that may have a financial impact on the council. Okay, number 7, we have maintained an adequate system of internal control and management of risk, including 1, measures designed to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, including clearly documented procedures for authorising and making payments. 2, assessment and management of risks facing the council. 3, an adequate and effective system of internal audit, and review the effectiveness of these arrangements. Okay, number 8. We have taken appropriate action on all matters raised in previous reports from internal and external audit. So I think that's always an ongoing process because we will get recommendations which will come up later from internal audit. So we will, and no doubt we may get some from external audit later in the year. So that will be an ongoing exercise. 9, we provided proper opportunity for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the Public Audit Wales Act 2004 and the Accounts and Audit Wales Regulations 2014. This is giving the public the right to look at our accounts, and it's something that can't be done until the accounts have been approved. So once they've been approved tonight, hopefully, then that opportunity for the public can be advertised then, and they have the opportunity to come in then. I think it's over 2 weeks to look at the accounts. It's only happened once in the 8 years that I've been here. And the final one then is about the general power of competence, which says the council has adopted the power of general competence set in Local Government Elections Act Wales 2021. But obviously that's not something that we can do at the moment because we don't comply with all the relevant criteria. So I think
So I think it's clear by no questions that the council's run very professionally. It hasn't probably been like that the whole time in its history, but I think now it's extremely well run and organised and transparent. So I think we should all be proud of that. One thing I think we could do slightly better on, probably on item 7, is the procurement opportunities for local businesses. So, like, for example, maybe we could build that into the new website when we are looking at, procuring or doing something that people have the opportunity to make themselves aware of, make their services aware to the council. so that they can, you know, for example, if you're a jet washer and you know, you're a local company, that you could just go on and make the council aware of your services. So that's something that maybe we could build into the new website, Kerry.
Yeah, I
Kerry?
just wanted to say we can actually put out a shout out for businesses to come forward, and then we can put together what's called a list of preferred suppliers and traders. Because as you know, we have obligations for obtaining quotes that we normally have to have 3 of them. So if we had a list of everybody that provides those services, that will cut down on officer time having to research into where we get people from, and that's something that a lot of councils do. So I'm quite happy to undertake that work if you want me to.
Yeah, that's great. And I know you do look around when we procure stuff, and you do like look on Google for local companies as well. So it's not, I'm not saying we don't do it, but I think that would be helpful. And like you say, it'll save time and be better. Have you got hands down? Okay. Okay, so do I take a vote to accept the annual governance statement? Is that correct? Yeah. So
Yeah,
all those-
please, Chair.
Any abstentions? Rebecca abstaining, or are you just late on your vote? You thought, I thought so. Okay, and any against? Okay, that's unanimous, thank you. Okay, moving on to item B, to approve the annual accounts of the year. Over back to you, Paul.
Yes,
That's
okay, thanks, Chair. 3 documents attached to the pack on this. One is called the annual return, which is that same document I mentioned earlier, but it's the first part of that document. And I've also attached the income and expenditure account for last year and the balance sheet as at the 31st of March. The annual return is I suppose the important one, because that's what is audited by the internal auditor and by Audit Wales when it gets sent off. And it's what's on that annual return is basically the top half is a summary of the income and expenditure account, and then the bottom half is a summary of our balance statement. So it starts off with our opening balance. It adds the precept that we collected from the community, adds any other income, and then it takes off staffing costs, loan repayments, and other expenditure to give us the balance carried forward. And then the balance sheet then is, it shows the debtors, which is what people owe us at the end of the financial year, any stock, which is new this year because it's stock held at Underhill, and any VAT owing. And VAT this year is only the 1 year for the year just gone. Then it's got our cash at bank. Then it's got creditors, which is what we owe people at the end of March. As people, suppliers, anything really that we owe to at the end of March, which related to the last financial year, and also receipts in advance, which is a fairly small amount. And there's a couple of sort of memorandum items at the bottom, which is our fixed assets and long-term assets, nearly 1.7 million. The bulk of that is obviously the Ostream Centre and the skate park, which I think on their own come to in excess of 1.5 million. And then it's got the total borrowing outstanding, which is the Underhill loan, which was around 927,000, just over at the end of the last financial year. And looking back, we've had that loan now for 4 years, so there is 11 years remaining before it is fully repaid. This return is a standard format for all community and town councils across Wales. So they'll all will have filled them in and sent them off to their internal auditors and to Audit Wales eventually. So any questions on the annual accounts?
Just one for me. Obviously, we've got the this all very well put together. The 3G pitch sinking fund, which I don't think there's. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if there's any actual money in it. But yeah, but it is obviously prudent to have one, and we should. I think MCA never put any money into it and never had any to transfer over to us, and I don't think. I know that we haven't allocated any money into that sinking fund as yet, but obviously I think it's something we should probably think about for the next budget. So I'm just wondering if, for the sake of accounts exercise, if you could just add it to this and just put a 0 next to it, just so that it can be tracked in future and ongoing.
It's not something that's in the accounts as in the format that they are, but I think it's as you said, it definitely needs to form part of next year's budget. So what I would suggest is what's the new committee called? Property and Assets. Probably that's the time to raise it, is when you got your first meeting this week, as an action point, and then that can be remain there until the budget for next year is set. Then, so it's not forgotten about.
You're on mute.
Sorry, we still haven't bought that new mouse, have we? I think it's got to be top of our budget list. So is there any other questions for anyone? And if not, just to clarify, do I just take a vote on the annual return, or is it on the income and expenditure account?
It's to approve the annual accounts. The recommendation is to approve the annual accounts for the year ending 31st of March 2026.
Okay. All right, so if there's no more questions, all those in favour? That's great, thank you.
Okay. What needs to happen now is that this document I've got to sign, and you've got to sign it as chair, Will, of the meeting. So what I'll do is I'll get a copy of it to Diane, and if she can print it off, then you can sign it, and then it'll go off to Audit Wales.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Paul. Back to you then, is it?
Yeah. The next part then is the annual internal audit for 2025-26. There's 2 documents attached in the Teams folder. There isn't an internal auditor's letter to the chair. That's something that previous auditors have done, but our current audit doesn't do that. What she's done is she's completed the annual return. There's an internal audit part on the annual return that's saved to Teams, and that shows that she's happy with. She's agreed with everything that she needs to look at. Everything is ticked yes, apart from one, which is petty cash, because we don't have any petty cash accounts, and trust funds, because we're not involved in any trust funds. And the more detailed report then is also attached to the folder. It's Mumble CC year-end internal audit report final. It's a detailed report, very balanced and fair, I think. There's a number of recommendations made across all the different areas that has been looked at. I think probably the one thing I would suggest is that is referred to finance and compliance, so that over the course of the year they can monitor the implementation of those recommendations. It's what happened last year, so that's something I think we probably should do. So I'm not sure whether anybody's got any questions on the annual internal audit.
No questions for me. Just obviously really good to read the the back from the practice manager about how well the chief officers managed the Underhill transition, and obviously how well you've submitted the accounts and the budget setting and everything. So it's obviously again really good, transparent and good work, and shows the council in good light. So more of a pat on the back from me than a question. Any questions from anyone else on the internal audit? Okay, if there's no questions, I'll just move to a vote to accept that then. All those in favour? Okay, thank you very much. And is it back to you, Paul, for section D?
Yeah, it's the rest of it now is the normal finance report that comes every month. It starts off the list of all the invoices we paid in June, split between the council, Ostream and Underhill. Total, including VAT, is just short of £118,000 spent in the month. Income for June was 63,000. 59,000 of that is Underhill for the hub and the all-weather pitch. Current bank balances are in total at the 10th of July was 792,000, and I've listed the bank transfers that took place in the month. Obviously, the one that says at the end says 1709, that should be 1706. And then we've also managed to catch up now on the current year's invoicing and payment of invoices. So we've got the budget monitoring report there to the 30th of April. It's only 24,000 spent in that month because traditionally April is the month where you're paying invoices which relate to the old financial year. So it's only 2.7% of the annual budget has been spent in the first month. If any questions, or then you've got the three recommendations at the end of the report.
Yeah, no, I mean, thanks for breaking it up. I know a couple of months back we spoke about breaking it up into different categories. So, you know, Austrian Centre, Underhill Hub is much easier to digest now, and things to keep an eye on. So that's great. Just a question for Karen. The new website, presumably that went through Culture, and I'm just I've seen that in here. I wasn't really aware of the fact that we were getting a new website. So just on that and what's entailed with it included in that price, really.
It came through council as a recommendation through council earlier on in the year, because our current website isn't what's called accessibility. I can never remember the words of it. It's WAG something accessibility compliant at the moment, so it does fail on that side of things. And also we haven't got the capacity to add an awful lot of documents in there due to the historical data that's in there, and it's all out of date. So the supplier we've moved to are a supplier who specialise in building websites for local government, and obviously meet all the criteria there. So I did bring a report and everything through council at an earlier date to get approval for that.
Right, that sounds positive, and yeah, I think the current site could definitely be improved. So that's all good to hear. Okay, so if there's no questions on any of the payments, and thanks again, Paul, for laying them out so much better these days. It's easier to digest. There's no questions. If we move to accept the payments and the bank balances, all those in favour?
There's three recommendations at our chair, so I'll read them out. The first one is payments made by the RFO in June 2026 are retrospectively approved.
That's carried, thank you.
The bank transfers made between the council's bank accounts in June 2026 are retrospectively approved.
Yeah, it's carried. Alan,
and the final one then is the budget monitoring report to the 30th of April 2026 is approved.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Thanks, Paul. Okay, that's just moving on to item number 9 now, which is report.
Sorry, Chair. There's one further item on the financial report about bank accounts. Is that something you were going to put forward, Kerry?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. It's not bolded, so I missed it. Yeah, carry on.
Sorry, my fault. Yeah, so I've put a report in the folder for you about moving to 2 bank accounts that specialise in local government, charity, and the third I can't think of the word now, third organisation sector. So basically the report is to move us over to those bank accounts because it will give us more freedom in the way the accounts are actually structured. So at the moment we've been waiting for Lloyds to add me as a signature to the account since January, and it's taken an awful long time. As where if we move to Unity Trust Bank for the current account, that will allow us to actually get councillors to authorise the payments online as well. So there's real good segregations of duty there. And then the other recommendation is that we go to what's called a CCLA Public Sector Deposit Fund account, because they have a generally higher yield of interest than we can find anywhere else. They are again a preferred supplier of town and community councils, so it's just to seek permission from council to move to those, to start the process to move us over to those 2 bank accounts, please.
Yeah, we spoke with the company at the conference, and obviously a lot of other councils and larger councils than us bank with them. That's correct, isn't it, Kerry?
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously it would offer us a better return on our funds. The only thing I'd just like to add is I'll bring Carrie in first, then I'll finish off. Carrie?
Yeah, I was just wanted to check, because I know this has been an issue with when we were trying to find somewhere for the twinning bank account. How is there a way that we can pay cash into Unity Trust Bank? Because obviously there are events that we run which require us to actually be able to deposit cash. And I know at the moment, obviously the post office or maybe even the banking hub, I'm not sure, can take cash deposits for Lloyds. Is there a way that can go into Unity Trust?
Yep, so you can pay
Yeah.
in at the post office or at a
All
banking
right.
hub, cash or checks for Unity that way as well.
Oh, great. Thanks.
So Unity is better on that because Lloyds don't take checks anymore.
Oh, gosh.
You go, there's an app now where you got to take a photo of the check and then send it
Oh,
off.
God. Right. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Kerry.
Yeah, the only thing I want to just add is that we would run this past the 151 officer, Swansea Council, just to for his not sort of sign off, but just to get his opinion on it, Kerry, just to cover us. If you could, do you have any reasons why we shouldn't do that?
I've never normally run a decision past a section 151 officer for a town or community council bank account, but if that's what council want me to do, then take a vote on it, and I'm happy to do it.
Pretty sure, well, I know that they're covered by the FCA, the Unity Trust, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. It would just make me comfortable if we could just run it past Swansea Council's 151 officer. And, you know, assuming he has no concern that, assuming he has no concerns that obviously that if it did, we'd come back to us. But if everyone's happy with me just caveating that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say there was a reason that will become clear when we go into closed session why I've brought this report to council this evening. Obviously there's things that we need to hurry up and move along with. So could I just ask then, if you want me to, if you're going to vote on running it past the section 151 officer, that I can circulate his response and then you can confirm via email that that's okay, and I can go ahead and start the process of moving the accounts over.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Carrie?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can't see the point. Does every community council in the Swansea area run and their workings through Swansea Council for approval? I've never heard of it before for a town and community council to have to run changes of bank account through the city council. It just seems to be delaying things. You know, this is something we should be able to just be getting on with. And we don't know how long it would take for, you know, they're not going to see it probably as a top priority. So, you know, we could be sat here in 2 months' time still waiting for an answer. So I just think, to be honest, it's time wasting for something that we are perfectly capable of doing. One Voice Wales, you know, use this bank themselves. Numerous town and community councils use it. Why would there be any concerns?
Yeah, I suppose in the back of my mind, I'm just covering our backs and just remembering the Icelandic banking disaster, and don't want anything coming back on us like that. And I know other people do use this, but and I know it's FC covered. But Ben 151 officer Swansea Council will reply very swiftly, I'm sure. And it's only if he's got any big issues with it that it would have to be run past us anyway. I'm sure, as you said, so it's just a caveat. If people don't want to agree with that, then I totally appreciate that, and we can bring it back. But all those in favour of just that course of action. Okay. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's read on the chair's vote, okay? Thank you. Oh, sorry, any abstentions, like just for the record? Rob can't vote. Any abstentions? Or any against? Okay, two against them.
Oh, I'm against. I'm against.
Okay, yeah.
Against.
Okay, so that's carried. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Well, it's carried, yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's 5 against the end.
So, sorry, guys, just going to revisit that. So, let's just do that vote again. So, what I'm saying is sorry, Ange, could you stop talking? I can't concentrate when people are talking. If all those in favour of running this past the 151 officer at Swansea Council before we pull the trigger on it. So, all those in favour of that course of action? I don't think you're in the room, Rob, sorry, okay. I probably shouldn't allow you to.
Oh, yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Any abstentions? And any against that? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Helen, you said you were against that earlier? Yeah.
Yes, sorry, I was just trying to find my son and I didn't hear the recommendation. Apologies, Will.
Okay. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're looking at moving banks to Unity Trust. I totally agree with that decision. All I'm saying is that I'd like just to run it past the Swansea Council 151 officer before we do.
Yeah, I don't think we should bother, to be honest. I think we should just do it.
That's fine. So you vote against that in this, and a lot of people don't. That's totally appreciate. That's absolutely fine. No problem. I'm not dying on my sword over this one. Don't worry. Okay. So all those in favour of that course of action, running it past the 151 officer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Any abstentions? Rob was out of the room, so he can't. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just reminding people. And any against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So then back to the original one of just. All those in favour of moving to Unity Trust without contacting the 151 officer at Swansea Council. All those in favour? That's everyone, I would think. Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's carried. So carried without having to email the 151 officer at Swansea Council. Okay, so moving on. Item number 9, report the chair of the Finance Committee.
Thanks, Chair. Just trying to update the full council regarding the committee meeting on 16th of June 2026. We elect a vice chair, which is Councillor Martin O'Neill. Then we also approved 5 grant applications. Then 2 had to be deferred for consideration by this full council for reasons that the attendance of the committee meeting was relatively low, and then the total amount of these 2 grants exceeded 10,000 grant. So we thought we had to put power to the full council for consideration. And that's about it, really. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to number 10, which is a report from the Community and Social Committee Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so we met on, I can't remember the date, but we talked about looking into refurbishing or professionally cleaning the welcome walls. There's one at Blackpill, Bracelet Bay and the top of Nails Road. We don't think the stones have been maintained at all since they were put in, or certainly for many years. But because of the nature of them, we need professional stonemason to look at these. We also, Councillor Ian Scott provided some feedback from the Flip the Streets initiative, which was a really, really hugely successful event in which many members of the community engaged. And the outcome of it was 2 really nice murals that have been painted on the skate park, and hopefully will deter further vandalism. So we just wanted to offer our thanks to Professor Lela Nouri, Fresh Creative, MTC officers and everybody else who was involved in that for all their hard work. On the subject of the skate park, we also discussed CCTV, which we're currently, we've got some quotes back for, and in relation to this, and street lighting and the trimming of the big hedges which have grown out of control. we're also in the process of getting quotes for that, but we have to be mindful of protecting the birds during the nesting period in the summer. I brought to council to consider looking at clearing some of the overgrowth at the World War II bunker on Mumbles Hill and restoring the signage up there. And following requests from a member of the public, we talked about having a small bench seating near the bus stop where the pavement's been newly widened down between Greggs and the Quarry car park. So, as well as that, Councillor Ian Scott was elected vice chair of the committee. I was elected representative for the Facilities and Property Committee, and then we speak with Swansea City Council to find out who is responsible for the upkeep of the welcome walls, and that in the first instance we would focus on the Black Pill one as you come into Mumbles. Again, we would liaise with SCC and John Powell, local historian, to find out who is responsible for the bunker site at Mumbles Hill. And again, getting quotes for some more 3-metre benches on Mumbles Road.
Thank you very much. Will you carry first?
Yes, Mumbles Hill, the signage has all been approved and is in the process of being produced. It has been terribly slow, I admit, because I think it was about a year ago that we finally signed off on the various different signs. But the person who's responsible for it is Sean Hathaway, and so it might be worth giving him a little nudge to just see when the signs are actually going to be replaced. And for the skate park, it's very unfortunate that somebody has actually defaced one of the murals that Flip the Streets did. And I would like to think that we are going to make some effort to get it cleaned up. I understand it's possibly something like cement, which is going to be difficult to... oh, it's not. Kerry's just shaking her head there. So yeah, hopefully that'll be cleaned off. And I'm aware, and I'm sure the rest of you are, that there's a big event going on at the skate park that exits... No? Been cancelled? Oh, right, there isn't a big event going on at the skate park on Saturday after all. Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
Do you want to come back on?
Yeah, sorry, thanks, Carrie. In terms of Mumbles Hill, it was the information boards that I was referring to.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Okay, I didn't know that was already going on in the background. So thank you.
New ones have all been commissioned, but they are being very slow about actually getting around to fitting them.
I didn't know that, but that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Helen, do you want to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Will. Number one, it's bloody disgraceful, isn't it, that work has been defaced already. I just think that's an absolute disgrace. Number two, it's fantastic to hear of the work in Mumbles Hill, Laura, because I know that's a project and a place that's really important to you. And number three, great to see progress on the Welcome to Mumbles sign. I think I've sent at least 2 or 3 emails over the past, several months asking for that to be done. Met several times with people around there. So can you just copy me in on the Black Pill stuff? Because also I've potentially got an offer of funding or a contribution of funding towards it. So yeah, keep us posted because I'm really keen to see that Black Pill one done ASAP. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Helen.
That's great. Just on that previous point, Carrie, could you share the information board stuff with Laura sometime, just so she can have sight of that?
Sorry, I'll try to find it. The best thing for her to do is contact Sean Hathaway.
Yeah, we have. The committee has been in touch with Sean.
Yeah, because he's got all the. I mean, they came to me in sort of dribs and drabs for us to sign off. He's got the full set, so okay. That would probably be good. I'm sure he'd be happy to share the artwork with you.
That's great. Kerry, then
I'll
Angela.
send what I can.
Thank you.
Thanks. Kerry.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, just to say, I went down the skate park on Monday to have a look at what had taken place to see if it was cement. It's actually mud that's been mixed with water. So Ash has been on annual leave and he returned today. So he'll be going down there tomorrow to actually just clean that all off for us. All it needs is a bit of soapy water and a sponge, and all of that will actually come off. And then I was contacted today at about 3:30, just to let me know that the event on Saturday had been postponed. However, there was some further information that I was provided with that I'm waiting to come over in writing, and then when that does come over, I'll share that with council for further consideration going forward. Thank you.
Should you want to?
Well, just when they were talking about the Welcome to Mumbles sign, it was just that myself, you and Hannah are trying to work with placemaking at the council at the minute to sort out a few signs coming into Mumbles with regards to that. But yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe if you copy us in, we can help strong arm Swansea Council into maybe contributing. Okay, I've not got a report from the Environmental Committee in my my pack, but is there anyone? The one?
So, yeah.
No, Sarah's not here either. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to a report from Culture and Tourism Committee.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, so the last meeting was the 26th of June. The folk fair, number one is the folk festival. So we agreed the dates Friday the 4th to Sunday the 6th of October. The raft race was something that came up as well, and we've invited Will, the chair, and the RNLI to our next meeting of culture to talk about what we can do to help and what they want us to do. Number 3 is star netting at the lower end of Newton Road, for Christmas, which would be rather nice. We're in the process of talking to people who things down the bottom end, because obviously we'll have to have permission to do it. Then number 4 is Christmas events. So what we've got planned is a lantern again, school kids lantern parade, the Advent competition for the shoppers, community Christmas films, a Santa's grotto, and I've seen the picture of Santa and he looks brilliant. He looks like a really fun, lovely man, and he looks like Santa. He won't need a false beard. He looks like Captain Birdseye, basically. He's great. To work with Mumbles traders, obviously, as much as we can. Then Richard had mentioned a sea shanty festival, which we thought if we do that, it'd be a nice linkage with the Raft Race Day, because that's the prime time to do it. Wellfest, we approved the expenditure as approved by full council for that, and lovely to see all the preparations coming on with that, so nicely. And Richard was elected to the facilities committee.
One question, the sea shanty would obviously for 2027, presumably.
Yes.
Yeah, for next year.
Yeah.
Okay, and the star netting, as you know, I've been keen to do that for years and years, but thanks for taking it on, because it's a tricky, it's not easy contacting all those companies and trying to find out who's best and how to hang it. But I think it doesn't have to just be lights for the Christmas, like you go, I know it's a different level, but you go to some other places where they got high streets and they hang umbrellas and all sorts of quirky things from these things all year round.
That's probably more for Mumbles, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I think that it could be artwork as well. You don't have to have something up there all year round, but nice themes. But obviously there's a cost to that, and obviously getting a cherry picker and putting things up is not going to be cheap. So it's going to be a big consideration whether it's worth it or not. But thanks for looking at that. Okay, any more questions? Oh, you Helen?
Oh, and we approved Helen. I think no.
Oh yeah, all good. Thank you. That was great. Thank you.
Sorry, Helen. I jumped above myself there. I don't think we did because of numbers.
That was that's a different committee.
Ah, yes. No, we did approve.
Thank you, great. Well, fabulous. Thank you. I'll check the future dates. On the point of the cherry picker, I was just going to say whether the fire and rescue people would do that as a charity thing. I was talking to some people in Pembrokeshire Council the other day, and they were saying that often the fire and rescue will do cherry picker bits and bobs as part of like, you know, collaboration or helping out. So maybe just be worth contacting the Sketty thing.
Yeah, Ian's our man for that. Councillor Scott, with how many years on the fire service? Ian?
23 years ago.
Yeah, but there we are. He's not our man. I'm sure you know someone who's still there. Anyway, all right. Well, Rob, I'm sure we'll take that up, Helen, in the
HQ.
check. Carrie, do you want to come in?
Yeah, sorry, just what's Helen's thing?
I think he was talking about Helen being added to the committee.
To the committee.
Ah, right, okay, sorry, thank you.
Okay, okay, there's no more questions. Moving on to the consideration of the grant applications. I've got them obviously all in front of me here. So who's been over these?
Look,
Yeah, finance.
we went over Victoria Inn and Lumber's Life, but not other 4.
Right, so some of them have come directly to council, right?
The last 4 came through late. Missed the meeting.
Okay, so you guys have been over the Victoria Inn and the Mumbles Life one.
Yeah, but then
Okay.
we decided to.
Yeah. Okay, so you want that to go to council, that makes sense, okay. So, right, firstly, because we've got there's quite a lot of money potentially here, I asked very earlier how much we had left in the grants funding pot for the rest of the year, which would take us all the way to March. Paul, that's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's £18,268.
Sorry, Chair, can I come in? I've just rechecked my figures and it's 21,286. Apologies for that.
No problem. Thank you very much. So just to remind everyone that amount of budget, that grants pot that we approve has to last us through to March. Obviously, there's the option to buy money from reserves and use that into grants. So, you know, that's what you have reserves for as a council, for unforeseen things. But I just wanted to make everyone aware of that when they're, you know, looking at the following application. So we've got 21,000 in the budget line towards grants for that year. Okay, so looking at the first one, if I'll pass it over to you if I may, but I just firstly on the first one with the Victoria Inn, I've only got one sheet of paper. I don't have the whole grant score and application. You do.
I do.
Score 10.
Okay, I don't have that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. I've actually got a different figure in front of me here than on the grant as well. Okay, I won't say that one because that's probably not relevant. I put that there and I'll just pick this one up. So Victoria Inn, the amount that they're asking for off the grant is £5,250. The score is 10, which is an overall score of 10, which is out of 20, correct? No, out of 15, yes.
40.
Hang on, is it? Yeah, out of 14. So it scores 10 out of 14. Firstly, I'm just gonna, obviously you've all got this in your pack, so you can see the application. Is there any questions, firstly, Ian?
Well, firstly, question 18, what is the amount of funding you're investing from your organisation's own sources? And it's 0.
Yeah.
What amount of funding are you requesting from other bodies? That's 0.
Yeah.
Grant application is £5,250. I think it's a good idea, but we have to circumvent the matter of whether is the licensee the owner of the premises?
As far as I know, yes.
Right. There's quite a bit of detail came in on the application, the background to the ownership. But 5,250. It's a renovation project. There is the glass cover on the well.
Yeah, that's probably a good place to start, isn't it? So full renovation, restoration of the historic well within the pub. So I really like this project. It is a quirky thing in the pub in the corner. People go and look at it. It was a bit more prominent before they moved the building around, but it is a nice nice thing. So basically, there's a well in the corner of the pub where it's lit up from underneath. It hasn't been, I don't know, cleaned, and the glass at the top doesn't work. The lights aren't great in it. So it used to be years ago. It used to be a little quirky attraction. It's part of the village's history and certainly the building's history. And I suppose it's one of those things where does it make sense for the owners to spend what is 5,000? It looks like on fixing it. Would they see the return? But they do own it, obviously. So this is why it's come to us for a decision. Carrie, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I mean, they are a commercial business, and you know, from living very close to it, they seem a pretty successful local business. I really don't see how we, as a public body, should be paying money out to a private company to do something which presumably they're hoping will enhance their profits. So, you know, as much as it's a novelty, but I don't see how they can make it more prominent without moving it. And if they're going to move it, then it won't be a historical well anymore anyway. So, no, I'm sorry. I just don't think it's appropriate for public money to be used to do it.
Okay, thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the history and everything being restored, but I just think like maybe 50% would be more.
I've literally got that in my notes as well. Same page. Angela?
Again, like the idea of it, and I've been in there and seen it. I think it's, first of all, I can't actually see the quote of money, how much it's going to cost us, but I can't see the invoice from the company that would say it's going to cost you this much. So it is quite a lot of money to clean the glass and put a light underneath. I'm sure there could be a cheaper found than that, but I can't see the actual quote here from anybody. And that there's not one or three quotes here. So yeah, I think it's just in full, it's just too much.
I think the reason you can't see it at the moment is because the way the building was configured, it was the entrance to the.
I can see that. The actual building company that said it would cost me 5,000 to do it.
I'm sort of a little bit torn with this because it was always a nice little novel thing to look at. But it is a private business, and I don't think we can fund the whole thing because we do ask for our rates to be match funded by half, 50% where possible. And this is and there is nothing being put towards it by the business owners. So I'm inclined to help them out, but I don't think we can give them the full amount.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ange makes a good point on the detail of the breakdown of where the money Ian is sort of supposed or die rather.
It does show on the application here as if it's a click-through link. That maybe the company, like the Victoria Inn, have put that in, but we can't actually see that. See there, I attach all groups, click, but I can't.
Yeah.
So maybe we have the quote, and then maybe see if they can offer some more money towards it.
Right. So I think it's obviously not an urgent one. I wouldn't have thought. There's no. Di, is there any? Do you know if there's any urgency? Okay. Ian?
Just a quick question. I just wonder if we should be seeking, or they should be seeking approval to do such work on what is a quirky thing. I don't know whether it carries any heritage value or.
Okay. So if the following questions, I guess, who takes these questions? Is it you, Di, or Ian, or? Yeah, so I think Ian makes a good point with the heritage. Have they just checked they're allowed to do any works? The quote we'd like to see the committee, that's probably for us though, if you could circulate the quote and the breakdown and an explanation as to why it's so high. Maybe it requires a specialist to drop a light down a well or something like that. I'm not sure, but hang on.
Sorry,
Pause.
if you go to the very, very bottom, minus cover a blank page or two, then there is actually exactly what we've just been speaking about. So I can see it there, £3,724.80
Yeah.
for restoration to the well.
Yeah, but that's what I've got here, you see, but it's not.
No, but then you've got one for lights.
1,200.
One, that's why I was mixed up with the prices earlier.
So maybe it's worth asking, can they get another one or two quotes, number one? And they try and put some money towards it, number two, and then bring it back.
Yeah.
Rather than,
Sorry, it's very difficult for us to hear when you're just chatting to each other.
sorry, what I was just going to say is it worth going back to them and saying, we do kind of like the idea of restoring this, but A, have you got permission to restore it, or does any, as Ian suggested, and then secondly, is there any cheaper quotes that can be found, and can they put some money towards it?
Well, that's what I was doing with Di now. Yeah, exactly that. Right. So first of all, we're going to ask about the heritage.
Sorry, can I just make a suggestion? If it is historic, then they should be applying to the Heritage Lottery Fund. And I would suggest their first port of call is to speak to them.
Yeah, thanks. I think that was going to be something that we were going to bring up now as well. So firstly, they could speak to the Heritage officer at the Swansea Council, just double check, and also the Heritage Lottery, just ask if they qualify for that. Secondly, is how many quotes have they obtained, and what questions as to, it seems high from the council, why. I don't think we should really say that we're inclined to fund any percentage of it at that point, because we need the other questions back before we consider that. So if you could thank them for the application, and we all like it in principle, but we just need that little bit more information before we. Okay.
Chair, I'd also like to check what legislation applies to given the grant as well, just to make sure we're covered from that side as well, please.
Good idea. That's great. Yes. Okay. So next one is Mumbles Life. Devin, do you wanna?
Yeah, they came in February, 25th of February to deliver a presentation, if any councillor remember. And then they asking for £5,000 application from MCC. They contribute themselves £3,634. Something we did kind of trying to find out a bit more is the business model they try to start, whether councillors on this council are convinced whether this is a viable business model going forward.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. Is there any questions on this application before I mention my? Anyone got any questions on this application?
I think the gentleman's on camera, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not allowed to.
Fair enough. Yeah, right.
We can't see any of, like, what, we can just see a little,
Just the first page I've got.
Yeah, can you see them?
what we want to do with it, but
Okay,
like,
so-
as Tim said, like, there's no business plan or.
So we've got here in the total cost of the project, app development 5,700, small business website.
See,
It's
it should have been sent out, we can't see it.
the application. What the amount of requesting £5,000 from MCC. What the funding requested for other bodies nil. I mean, monitor the Mumbles Life. So basically, this is what is it? If I read out what is the purpose of the project, Mumbles Life is currently a Facebook group and website aimed at providing the community of Mumbles a single place to see a variety of events going on throughout Mumbles. This includes music, sports, community, arts, faith-based events. The next is the development of the app to allow us to connect local businesses directly with potential customers, whether they be Mumbles locals or visitors. This will be done via membership scheme app, where individuals can become members and receive notifications of the event and special offers from participating local businesses directly to the members' handsets. Businesses can become Mumbles Life partners and have the ability to design their own bespoke offers and events, details giving them unprecedented agility to address, for example, quiet times in their business, or to promote slow-moving stock or any other aspect of their local business. So again, private business. So Kerry, so Angela?
Yeah, I don't think full council have had the presentation of it was only culture. Is that correct? So just to
Culture committee.
Yeah, I think it was only culture. So sorry, I'm sat here thinking everyone's in the same position as us and you're not. So in culture, Mark, who's on the line now, actually is part of Mumbles Life and actually obviously isn't able to speak in this meeting. So he came to culture to present his idea and actually we were quite excited by the idea in culture because what we'd already spoke about was having a central place in Mumbles that would be really beneficial for local people to be able to go to, know what's on, where to stay, where to eat, where to go, etc. And under the MCC umbrella, it's kind of probably not possible for the officers to be able to take on board and do that. And then off the back of the meeting, I don't know whether he was aware of what would be spoken about in the meeting or whether it was just potluck, but Mark and Gemma came forward with this idea for Mumbles Life and presented it to us at Culture, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And it was really exciting for us, but obviously Mark had to go away and work on this a little bit more and come back to us with what he's obviously been working on. And I guess now is the point where he's asking for us to contribute some funds to keep it going, as Will was just saying. So I really like the idea. I think it would benefit the businesses hugely in Mumbles because there's not a central point. It would be wonderful if MCC could have taken on that project themselves, but I don't think there's the facility to be able to do that and maintain it. Mm-hmm. So it is a something that's come from a resident. I think they're a resident in Mumbles. So yeah, I think it is a lovely idea, but I don't have the information of how much money they're asking.
Yeah. Carrie, do you want to come in?
Yeah. I suppose my first question is, isn't it Mumbles Traders who are looking after all the businesses in Mumbles? Angela was saying there is no one currently who does it. Perhaps they are the people. And again, as far as I can see, they are asking for money from us without putting any money in themselves. Is that correct?
They are.
Guys, let's slow down the conversation a minute. Carrie, finish.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I believe they have put in time and money themselves already, I would guess, to get to the point they are. Obviously, we've got Mumbles Traders, who obviously should be driving something like this forward. Obviously, there is the app as well, isn't there? The traders have got Paul Whitaker's app. So it'd be interesting to know a bit more detail about why that doesn't fit the bill exactly for what's going on. I mean, a lot of other community councils do similar things themselves internally. Can I just ask Kerry? Kerry, you mentioned in the last application about the legalities of approving such grants to businesses. Is that come under the same umbrella, or? Okay, so
yeah, I would just, before you make a decision, just like to make sure we've got because there is a power of last resort, but we have to ensure that we've looked at every other power applicable first of all. So I just want to double check that we've done that as well.
Okay, thanks, Kerry. Bring in Rob, and then I'll sum up.
Yeah, like Ange, I think this is a really good idea. I mean, I saw the presentation, and it seems that, you know, whatever is out there at the moment, this would be on a different level. And I wonder if it's worth, rather than voting on it now and possibly making a decision that we can't revisit for 6 months, maybe getting Mark and Gemma in to do a presentation to full council, or the other option might be that if this is approved, then it's done in conjunction with MCC. So we're almost like subcontracting something out, part of the, you know, our own marketing out to Mark and Gemma in this way.
Okay, I think there's loads of potential questions here. What I would ask, because it sounds like we can't make a decision on this anyway, because Kerry has said, so we won't be able to deal with this now. If could you circulate an email to everyone on the council, and we'll all put questions forward. For example, they liaise with, you know, Mumbles Traders Association, what's their opinion of the product, that sort of, you know, so everyone has a chance to feed in. We'll then send those questions over. Kerry will get the information on whether it's even something possible, and then we'll either bring it back to the next council or bring it to the committee. Is everyone okay with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Right. So let's just. So Mumbles Traders Food Festival. Have I got that one in front of me here? Just checking I've got this correctly in front. Yeah, okay. Laura, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I've just got a few questions about all three of their applications, because there seems to be a bit of a discrepancy between what they're saying the total cost of the project is, and then because they've broken, like for the food festival, for example, they've broken down their costs: oysters, marquees, stage, security, 3,750, which is what they've applied for. But then later on in the application, it says total cost is 8,000 something. So I just want, and it's the same for all three of them. So I'm just wondering where that extra cost is coming from, because if not, we're basically funding the whole thing. 8,650 total costs, amount you're requesting 3,750, but in their breakdown of costs, it only adds up to 3,750. Do you see what I mean?
And this is actually consistent with all of the applications from, yeah, because I had got exactly the same question on the Here Comes the Summer,
Yeah,
and also on the classic carpet. They're not consistent in any way, shape, or form. And so, which one are we actually on now?
So I'm just talking about the food one, the Oyster Festival. That's the first one. It's a question 14. What's the total cost of the project? 8,650. But then later on, it breaks down their costs. Oysters, £850, marquees 1,800, and that adds up to 3,750, which is what they're asking for. So where's the rest?
Yeah, and why are we paying for oysters? Why are we paying for 700 oysters?
Well, I guess that's the event, isn't it? So if they're not profitable to run the event, then that's where they come to us. But yeah, go on.
The next thing is first aid. I mean, do you not need first aid for the Oyster Festival, but you do for the other events? And do you not need
This can be dangerous, mind.
Say again?
This can be dangerous.
Okay, so I guess, right, am I correct in thinking this is a new separate, well, not new, because I knew it was run in the past, but is it a new separate standalone event?
Well, it was on last year, and I think the year before.
But wasn't it on before one of the other events?
I think last year it was on its own, because I remember it hammered down the rain. And
It was cancelled, I think, the Food Fest.
oh, but maybe it was the year before then.
Yeah, but wasn't it? Sorry, I'll bring Robin because he might be able to give us some information.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, we've got 3 different events at a total of £8,300, and that's without a grant application for Christmas. Now, we used to give Mumbles Traders £8,000 for all their events a couple of years ago. I'd like to just ask our clerk if the scrutiny and all the bank stuff is here to support these, It is all here. Okay.
Sorry, Dave, do you want to?
They, just to say, they don't come forward to the committee or to council until we've received all the documentation that we ask for them to submit their grant funding application. So Diane does spend a lot of time actually chasing organisations who apply for grants to make sure they've given us the correct information before they come forward. So that all should be in your pack. Okay.
I only ask because in the past we've had incidents where they're coming sort of after the event and stuff like that.
If you think of the Oyster Festival, back in the day, there was an Oyster Festival, wasn't there? Do you remember? It wasn't Mumbles Food Festival, was it?
No, there was a specific, well, there used to be one at South End.
Yes.
And then it moved up to Underhill, didn't it? But I think it was, I got a feeling it was before one of the other events. It was like the day before in the tent, but I might be wrong.
Okay. I'm saying that. Different event altogether. I thought the Oyster Festival back in the day.
Yeah, I guess it.
It seems to be like an Oyster Festival. It's just oysters and marquee, is that?
Yeah. Yeah, and we have got to.
The Hilton Market South End for a long time, wasn't it? I think back in the day.
Sits down there, and then Mumbles Development Trust.
Yeah.
The off-stream.
Right, Ellen, the off-stream.
Okay, over to you, Carrie.
Yeah. Why are we paying for oysters when they're going to be selling them and therefore making the money on them? That, you know, sorry, but that's not on. Secondly, there's a request for 1,800 for a marquee, which may or may not be a correct figure, but like there was a comment previously about getting quotes for things. Can we please see the quotes for the marquee, the quotes for the stage, and the quotes for security, so we can actually see that they've had 3 quotes for each of them and that the figures that they're requesting are actually reasonable? Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew.
I mean, if that's the same quote, we had the quote for another event going on, and it was 800, the exact same marquee, not £1,800. And now we've got an event. Like as MCC, we should be putting these events on ourselves. Absolutely. Rather than giving the grants to other people to put on, because it looks like we're not able to put these events on ourselves. So I think going forward, the event should be coming from MCC, because we've got an events officer the taxpayers are paying the money for to put on the event.
I don't entirely agree there. I think we should be facilitators, but anyway, that's a different argument.
Yeah, let's go, Rob, quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with Ange on that. You know, as a taxpayer myself and a council taxpayer, if I turn up and say I want the Rowan Hall for free because I pay council tax and I want to put an event, they tell me where to go. You know, we're not here to have all the events put on by one organisation. We are supposed to be putting on events with the money that we.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, in fairness to Mumbles Traders and the person who runs Mumbles Traders, which I won't mention online, but they are very proactive, and there's a lot of stuff that wouldn't happen in the village if they had never, you know, come to the table and been pushing events. So I do think, yes, we could and should be doing more, but at the same time, you know, they do need some acknowledgement for, you know, bringing forward an events calendar when the council didn't, you know. Helen, do you want to comment?
Yeah, I was just going to make a similar sort of point, Will. Just because we have an events officer doesn't mean we can run every event. It just physically wouldn't be popular. As I've mentioned numerous times, we need an events plan, which is the priority events that we want to be seen to be leading and hosting. That needs to be within someone's capacity. And then we enable other events. We prioritise other events that we want to see happen, like this one or other ones. And we decide which ones we want to fund because we can't do it all ourselves. I think that's like a really good balance. We do some ourselves and we support others to do some that we want to see happen.
I do think that makes sense, and also the long-term strategy of events as well. Like, for example, we've got the raft race, which I personally would like to see supported long-term. You know, not just a yearly grant, but like a long-term penciled in. Mumbles Fest, you know, seems to be very popular with the public, and they seem to miss that, so that would maybe form the long-term. And I think rather than having these new events popping up and down all the time, we should maybe work with our partners as well to say, what is it that we've got long-term going on? And maybe, just work on what we do fund. What I'm going to just suggest.
100% will, 100%. A star there, that one.
So what I'm going to suggest here is that we've got, I think the classic car show is very, very popular. And I think a lot of people seem to like that now, and it's not, what's the cost of that? The
227.
227, yeah, thank you. And then the other one's 227. So if, how do people feel if we say we won't fund the food festival, but we will fund the classic car show and the Here Comes the Sun? Because the Here Comes the Sun again is something popular, Laura.
Yeah, I think that's a slightly better approach because those events are free for the public to come along to as well, whereas the Oyster Festival, they'll be charging entrance as well. So taxpayers are paying twice.
Yes.
So really, I'd like to see them putting some more money up for that. Like Carrie said, why are we paying for the oysters when they're going to sell them? Whereas Here Comes the Sun and the Classic Car, they are free to the sort of people to come along to. So.
And what we spoke about at the beginning, we haven't got an endless supply of money, so we can't fund everything. Obviously, Helen.
I mean, both those events have got heritage and history connections. And I think going back to the story of Mumbles, whether, we just need to try and make the links with the work that Bev is doing for us on, some information that we can just relate back to our website to make those connections for content.
Okay, so do people like that approach? Just to recap, for that, it was that we didn't look to the food festival because of the reasons Laura stated. If we could go back over the video, but I'm totally in agreement with those reasons. But we do, well, obviously we'll come on to the other two later. So item C, if we're just voted on that we won't support the food festival, all those in favour of not supporting the grant application of the food festival? Okay, so that's covered. I'm going to attempt to just take, is there any questions on the vintage car one before we move on to a vote for that one? But I think we've covered a bit of the conversation that we will. So,
sorry, just quickly, the same as last time. Can we have some quotes, please, for this and for the Here Comes the Sun? Let's actually see how much these things are costing, and make sure that we've got the quotes and that they're reasonable.
Okay, do you want to give a bit more detail about what?
Well, I mean, there's SIA security steward 735. I presume highways and barriers, maybe are they Swansea Council? I don't know. But there's a list of things and it literally just says first aid, Martin's Law, £425. Who are we paying? And is that more expensive than St John's Ambulance, cheaper than St John's Ambulance? Have they asked St John's Ambulance? Are there other people providing first aid? I mean, Paul Whitaker himself is a first aider, so an argument could be made that perhaps that should be his responsibility.
Okay,
so
thanks.
I just think we should have some backup to these figures. They're just presented as random figures with no justification as to where they've come from.
Absolutely, that's completely something that should definitely happen. So, and with all applications, really, when possible.
Yeah.
It would be okay to ask for a copy of the quote for the clients. Yeah, so security quotes and equipment quotes, hire quotes, that sort of thing. We just need a copy of those, and like the applications, really. I think that before we process any funds. Angela?
Two things. One was that at the food festival it was 635 for stewards, and yet it's 735 for this one. And then the other one was Martin's Law first aid. So I understand that first aid would be a cost, but he's put Martin's Law on the same heading, and Martin's Law is not implemented until next year. So as far as I'm aware, you wouldn't have any cost because there's nothing he has to do for Martin's Law until next year. So why he's charging us 425 this year didn't need to do anything yet.
Okay, well, if you could raise that down as well, please, that'd be great. Okay, so provided we get the accurate quotes back that match the figures stated from reputable contractors, all those in support of the classic car grant application. Any abstentions? Any against? Okay, that's passed. Thank you. Right, and the next one is the Here Comes the Sun. I got that one there. Bear with me a sec. I've got so many papers in front of me. Yeah. Right, so Here Comes the Sun obviously has been running for a while now. Everyone's seen the grant application in your packs. Total cost of the event 3,110. The amount funding the request MCC 2,275. Again, like we talked about earlier, it's an established event that I think is good for the calendar. Angela?
I just think it's a bit samey, if I'm honest. The event is a little bit, could do with freshening up. Fairground rides at the top. They closed the road off for it. It's deemed a kids event because school's out for summer. Actually, it's not really a kids event. There's a couple of fairground rides at the top of the road. It's on later on in the day when arguably it's kids' bedtime. It's who is that event appealing to? Is it event for the kids or for the adults? If it's the kids, there needs to be a bit more and maybe a bit more variety. People have said about the price of the fairground rides are expensive. I just think it needs a freshen up. It's the same.
Last couple of years, really poorly attended.
Yeah, really poorly attended. So it's not even warranting closing the road off. I just think it needs a rebrand, a refresh, a rethink. And sometimes these events need that. I just don't think it's worth that much money.
Okay, that's a good point. Do you want to suggest something, or does anyone else want to ask a question or have an opinion on it?
Unless because you can alter the plans, change the plans, come back with a different format or... Well,
I guess this is time sensitive, this grant, right? So if we don't okay this, then the event doesn't go ahead. But, that's something that if we choose not to, that's the way it is. So does anyone have any opinions, Carrie?
Yeah, do we know that it won't go ahead if we don't give them the money?
Well,
perhaps it would be an interesting exercise in, if we don't give them the money, do they find the money from elsewhere?
I guess there's an assumption because we've paid a grant for such a long period of time.
Well, yeah, we always pay it, but we don't know whether it's actually value for money. We've never actually done any sort of assessment as to whether there is actually alternative sources of funding or whether it's actually something that covers its own costs. It's just just out of interest. You're saying if we don't fund it, it won't run, but we don't actually know that.
Okay, no, take your point, and I'll retract my comment then. Angela?
Sorry, I have fed back this to Paul before about the cost of the rides, about the fact that it's samey, and the fact that maybe it would be better off, like they do in a lot of the festivals, a wristband, and that cost of the wristband is then, they can go on all the fairground rides, but no feedback seems to be,
Okay, so we can do it two ways, or three ways, or 10 ways. We can, learn numerous ways. Number one is we don't fund it. Number two is we fund it. Number three is we fund it with some caveats. Number four is that we reduce or increase even the amount. So I'm looking for around the room to see if anyone's got any suggestions, because I always seem to have to do it. Angela?
It's 1 week away from the event. I mean, it's just badly organised. 1 week before an event to ask for this much money. Like, what are you going to do now? Cancel it if it doesn't go ahead? It just screams that it's not thought out through it.
Listening to the concerns that the people have got, it just shows that there's more than one way to put on an event, and we need a greater working together between Mumbles Traders and ourselves
we didn't want to not do Mumbles Fest this year, but the reality was we didn't have an events officer. So we thought, hang on, how can we justify spending that much money on an event that can we definitely pull it off without an events officer and without booking all the acts in place with enough time to get good quality, decent acts? And the answer is no. So we pushed it back for next year. I don't think you can say yes to a few £1,000 going out for a fairground at the top of Newton Road.
And also, you know, I mean, some of these traders who come to the Here Comes Summer, Mumbles traders make money on it. You know, the food, they're not local food.
Not all of them, no, some are. They have Tuckers.
Some are, yeah. Only because Tuckers are there.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of the people are from the market or from other places, and they're being charged to be able to.
It's an expensive day for parents. I mean,
it's expensive for locals to buy food there. No.
So does someone want to suggest something, or is it going to be left to me? Okay.
Is it next week?
Yeah.
I would suggest you just vote on the application.
I would just be happy to say we pass on this one and fund the car show.
How about we cover the road closure cost for this, which is, I don't know how much that is.
Okay, fair enough.
Hang on, it does say on here.
Okay.
Thanks, Ian. Ian's just going to look that up. I think that, you know, if we cover the road closure cost, it's
£411. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So is everyone okay with that? Does everyone want to do that?
Yeah, just for the actual road closure.
So what's suggested is that we just pay the £411 for the road closure for Here Comes the Summer. All those in favour? Okay. So that's that's just £411 grant supported for Here Comes the Summer then. Okay. First Mumbles Scout Group.
I think I need to leave the room for this.
Okay, thanks, Laura.
Someone else will have to do the next.
So many papers here. I'm going to have to trade in. Yeah. Right, I got it. Okay, so just for the sake of the video, anyone watching, Laura is on the a trustee, so she's left the room, and she has a prejudicial interest. So first Mumbles Scout Group, the grant application is for £2,830, and the purpose of the project, the hall is very cold in the winter. It's heated by one remaining ground level gas heater. Parts can no longer be obtained, and we, being they, have had to really makeshift repairs. It is unlikely to last much longer. The heat is inefficient and very expensive to run. It is manually controlled, blah, blah, blah. The purpose of the project is to replace one remaining high inefficient gas heater with a new high level, low energy heating system. 7 heater panels will source, yeah, anyway, new heating system for the hall. Any questions? Carrie first, then Ian.
Just a comment that my daughters went to, I don't know what it was, Beavers or Cubs, I don't know, something or other, 20 odd years ago, and it was absolutely freezing cold then. So, you know, they've put up with this for 20 years. So I think it probably is about time that they invested in some new heating. And, you know, I think we've put a lot of other work into the hall, and, you know, a return on our investment would be enhanced by making sure that they can rent it out in the winter, which they can't at the moment because it's absolutely freezing and nobody wants to go in there.
Okay, thanks, Carrie. Ian?
Yeah, I'd just like to register the fact that the Scouts have had the benefit of funding from Community Council. They had £6,942 in May 21, £19,578 in November 21, and £19,080 in April 22. That's a total of £45,600 you've given them grants. Now, okay, that was for a renovation work, disabled toilets, handrails and everything else, but I really don't think we're in the game of rebuilding the place. the fact that the heating system has lasted as long as it has, perhaps we ought to have had a little a box to put in some money. They are doing some crowdfunding. I know it's on the application. I'm a great supporter of the Scouts, but they've done very well in the past for us.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. They have done very well in the past. We have supported them very well. Is there any other questions before Ian, David?
Put it in that hole. Is it the whole of Queen's Road?
Yeah, open the hall.
But other groups use it.
They can hire it.
Okay.
They don't have a huge amount of hires, to be honest. And in the winter, that is largely because
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely freezing.
Yeah.
Hoping to have more people hire
It says Pilates and all that, yeah, it says, yeah.
Pilates, badminton, got a high ceiling.
which
Pilates in the cold.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just suggest. Did anyone want to table anything before I just put a suggestion on the table? Don't see anyone. Okay, so I'm going to suggest that we fund this for about £1,000 towards it. I think it's the total across the projects 5,600. So yeah, that would be a good chunk of it. We have been very supportive to them over the period of time. So if anyone hasn't got any comments on that, I just ask that we've moved to vote on that. So all those in favour of supporting for £1,000 towards the grant application. Okay, that's passed. Thank you. That's all the grants tied off. Note that we're over time, Kerry. So do we? Oh no, not. We've got another 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Number 14. Consider a request for an asset transfer of Hennebont Gardens. So this is something I've just proposed. Obviously, Hennebont Gardens used to be a very lovely, well-kept gardens. Also, Southend Gardens as well is seen better days. During COVID, Hennebont Gardens was opened up and
Sorry,
traded.
does somebody want to tell Laura she can come back in?
Good, yeah, God, thank you. I thought Rob had gone out to do it, to be honest. But,
Good.
Thanks, Dave. We're halfway through the next item. I'll start again. So to consider submitting a request of the asset transfer of Hennebont Gardens. So Hennebont and Southend, obviously gardens and the play area in between, 3 spaces along the seafront of Mumbles. New seawall's been done, looks fantastic. However, those 3 parks look a bit tired, mainly due to the council's parks budget. Fencing's looking a bit old. We have, as myself, Angela and Hannah, have approached council, asked for new fencing, things like that, and asked to freshen it up. We've asked for more resources in the parks, and the answer is unfortunately no. So this is where I suppose the community council potentially comes in. So during COVID, the Hennebont Gardens was, and Southend, but Hennebont was opened up for the traders to use because they didn't have any outdoor seating area, and they were allowed to use it for free and put the tables on. Now I believe they pay a table license to Swansea Council for those tables. Swansea Council maintains the area. However, what I would suggest is that we put a asset transfer into Swansea Council. We would then come up with a reasonable figure to charge the businesses for maintaining the park. And they would essentially pay us instead of paying Swansea Council for those table licenses. We would then maintain the park to a higher standard than Swansea Council currently do. So, for example, you've got the boat, which have weeds growing out of it. You've got the wildflower at the back is actually okay, but it could be tidied up a bit better. And we just mow the grass more often, and maybe potentially in the future replace the fence to make it look nice. So that's the motivation. I just wanted to get people's opinions, really. Laura?
Is Hennebont the one opposite the Mermaid?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it would be one thing I'd love to do again is put a raised crossing into, there again. Thinking we're slowing down traffic as well.
Yeah.
But it's funded via placemaking potential and things like that. But Carrie, do you want to come in?
The Mermaid are currently using it, so why would we want to take it on when we don't have any access to it, and we would then be responsible for keeping it clean and tidy, and they can just leave it in a mess?
So I think that we would have an agreement with any business that used it. For example, you know, how they would have to keep it, how it would have to be maintained for them to continue to use it in that way.
Could we kick them out, or have they got a long-term agreement?
Yeah, there's no long-term agreement. They just got a tables license, I believe. There's no
Okay.
long-term agreement.
And second question, who are you suggesting is going to do all this work?
Well, I think firstly, it's whether the council wants to look into it. And we're not suggesting that we sign a contract with Swansea Council tomorrow morning. I think this is an expression of interest.
Yeah,
I think,
part of looking into it is actually having a clear plan of how we're going to maintain it. And I can assure you that Ash doesn't have capacity to look after Hennebont Gardens. So, you know, are we going to get another member of ground staff to look after it? Are we going to pay Swansea Council to look after it? In which case we might as well let them just look after it and we pay them to do it. You know, I mean, you know, as a member of Twinning, I have a great affinity with Hennebont Gardens, and I would love to see it back in its original glory. But we've got to be practical and realistic, and I want to know who's going to pay for it, because we don't have the capacity to do it.
Swansea Council wouldn't.
Nope.
Don't maintain it to a standard that I personally am happy with. Ash hasn't got the time, so I guess it would be a subcontract. We'd have to put a tender out for.
So we'd have to pay, we would have to pay,
as I said,
more money or get more staff to maintain it. That's what I'm asking. And Mermaid would continue to make a mess in it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to respond, and you keep interrupting me every time I go to respond. So the Mermaid pay a table license to the council at the moment, and so do Full of Greys, right? So anyone who wanted to use that space would have to pay MCC directly in this potential proposal that is just being tabled at the moment as a discussion. There's no business plan. There's no information. Will Swansea Council even entertain it? Let's ask them. If they will, then we will come back to council with a formulated plan, run it past council, then run it past Swansea. Dave.
As a business, I've got the hanging baskets from the business hanging baskets.
Yeah.
Can we just go down that road of putting the business, I don't know, flower, what are they called? Like flower, not just hanging baskets, they also do like trophies.
Yeah.
Could we work in partnership with Swansea Council to put them there?
Well, I mean, we could pay extra to put them. We submit the request for that, and we just pay extra. So that's a pretty easy one to achieve.
Because they'll maintain them. They'll water them. They're brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an easy. We could do that regardless, probably, of whether we take this on or not. I guess they would probably let us do that, whichever you wanted. And
yeah, only to say, pick up what Carrie said. I think you might have said we're not allowed in the gardens. We are allowed in the gardens, and people have been turned away from the gardens. Everybody's allowed in the gardens. It's just the Mermaid have paid for those particular tables and chairs. So you know, it's a public space, so we can all go in there and use it. And you know, I don't want anyone thinking they can't go in and use that space, because everybody can.
No, exactly. It gives, you know, the community needs to know that it's community gardens and not a pub beer garden as well. I mean, we want the businesses to thrive, but we also want people to have access to the open space. And that's another motivation for this. So at the moment, it's very much just let's ask Swansea Council if it's something they consider. And if it is, then we'll formulate a detailed business plan, run it past council, and get back to them. So it's just an expression of interest at this stage. So just moving that to a vote. So an expression of interest, Swansea Council for Hennebont. Sure. Am I being? Shall I check Southend in it? No. All right. Sorry. Forget about that. Expression of interest, Swansea Council for Hennebont Gardens. All those in favour? Any abstentions? And any against? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, item 15, over to you, Carrie. Request for the baton.
Okay, yes, this is an idea that was sort of brought from the Lord Mayor's Petanque competition, which Mumbles Twinning and Mumbles Petanque Club put in a joint team to compete in the Lord Mayor's bull competition. And from that, there was a thinking that why didn't they put on a small bull competition, petanque competition in Mumbles, using the piece in Southend Gardens. I mean, there are only two, and one is slightly dodgy, so it wouldn't be a huge competition, but it would also support all the local businesses who at the moment, you know, they do suffer a bit over the summer from the various road closures and things. And, you know, we know that they love having the petanque teams using their businesses, which we do as Twinning, which they do, you know, we play a game down there, then we go into the Seafood Hut or 1807 or Trams or whichever one it is. Waterloo Stores have supported the Petanque Club in holding quiz nights for them. So the idea is that it would be a nice way to bring the community together, to promote petanque, to tell people about the work that's being done on improving the piece and building a new one, and encouraging more people to get involved in the sport. As you know from when Tracy and Jane did the presentation, it's a sport that absolutely anyone can play, which is fantastic. And, you know, it's great to have, it's a fun game. There's no kind of, you know, requirement to be super trained or anything else. And it's just a nice way to give a little bit back to those businesses that that are alongside Southend Gardens and give them a chance to put some work into the competition. We're hoping Waterloo Stores will run a bar there. They're very keen to be involved. 1807, which is the coffee shop on the corner, and the solicitors next door are very keen to sponsor it and to obviously provide some catering. So really, I just thought, well, maybe MCC should, I suppose you'd say, endorse it. And the one thing that neither of the clubs have is obviously the public liability insurance that you need to put on a public event. And so they were hoping that MCC would be happy to say, supported by MCC, and that we can use the public liability insurance for MCC to take overall responsibility for the event. I mean, it's an extremely low risk event, you know, so the chances of there actually needing to be a call on that insurance is minimal, but it's just an opportunity to, yeah, you know, promote the game and, you know, to get some local businesses to put a team forward. We'll be looking at teams of 4, not a huge number of teams, probably about maybe 24 teams, and just have a nice afternoon, enjoying being outside and supporting the local businesses along that strip of the front. That's all. It doesn't require any staff time, no input from MCC, but we would be grateful if you would be prepared to say potentially perhaps provide us with, say, up to £200, you know, in case there are any expenses that the clubs haven't thought of that might be involved.
Okay, Gary, I'm just going to bring Paul in and then Rob.
Yep.
Yeah, just that the issue on the insurance. I think we need to check that out with our insurers first,
Yep.
just to make sure they are happy to do that.
Lovely.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Thanks. I suppose if it is an MCC event, then it should go through fine. And it does sound like a very nice idea. Rob?
Yeah.
I'd like to speak in favour of this as well. As you know, I put forward on a couple of years that we restart the Mumbles competition. And seeing as we've got new pistes down there, it seems pointless to have them and not use them. So I agree with everything Carrie said. You know, it's for all ages, and I'm all for doing things which will include our more senior residents in the community, because we don't cater for them enough, as we do the children, in my opinion. I think it's also a good opportunity for us to take our mobile bar down there and possibly make some money that we can plough back into events, because, you know, we're doing Wellfest now, which is costing us a bit, and, you know, hopefully it'll be something that we will continue next year, but we need money to be able to put more events on. And, you know, we are a tourism area. There's lots of different events we can put on and would like to put on, but it's all money orientated. So I think the chance to make a little bit of money to put back into the pot for events would be great. So I wholeheartedly support this.
Thanks. Carrie, very quickly, do you want to come back?
I think there's a misunderstanding there. The idea is that we actually support the local businesses, and Waterloo stores have been very supportive of the Mumbles Pétanque Club, and obviously it would be them that we would be hoping that are going to run the bar for us. So you know, we're not looking at this as a way to make money for MCC. This is a way to give something to our local businesses and engage with the local community. It's not about making money for us or for anybody else.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. I agree. I think we keep it simple, especially this first time. If it is very popular, then maybe we could rebrand it Mumbles and bring that back, and maybe that's something that you could add to your committee and invite them in to have a chat about. I think it's a good idea. Okay, so I think you're right, though. We should have a little sundries budget that hopefully won't be used, but £250 or something towards any little bits and bobs. And as long as it's an MCC event, I think sure the insurance will be fine. So all those in favour of adding £250 to this and supporting. Okay, it's carried. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you ever so much. They will be delighted, and I'll let them know. Thank you.
Great. Right, okay, so we are over the 2 hours. So just if we crack on, if we just vote to suspend standing orders, so all those in favour? That is carried, thank you. So review of committee terms and references, committee membership. Kerry, do you want to come in on that?
Yep, it's just to say that there's been a few emails coming around with people resigning off committees and moving committees that made me look at the terms of reference. And we've currently got 2 committees that have only got 4 members, and their terms of reference state that they need to have a minimum of 5 and maximum of 9. So what we need to ensure is that you either make a decision this evening to lower that requirement to a minimum of 4, so those committees can continue to meet, or we try and find councillors to go on those committees. But if you go for the latter option, that means the committees won't be able to meet until they've got the minimum of 5 members on the committee.
What's the quorate amount of committees? Is it 3?
So quorate is 3. So that's why ideally you want a minimum of 5, but obviously if you lower it to 4, it just means that the current committees as they are can still carry on meeting. It's just a shame that people have stood down from committees, really.
I think if quorate's 3, then in my opinion you could still carry on with the committee with 4, because if only 3 turn up, then it can go ahead anyway. I mean,
yeah, so the term of reference says 5, so either vote to amend the term of reference to 4, or yeah.
So does anyone have any comments on this? Firstly,
yeah, I don't think you should reduce the number. I definitely don't think you should. If you don't get the members, then maybe look to merge the committee with another committee.
It's not quite as simple as that, but yeah, I mean, you're right. Maybe there is too many committees. Maybe that's something that we had a big discussion years ago. But that's something that maybe we look at. Right, Carrie?
Yeah, I think we need to review the committees completely. There are people who supposedly are on committees that never turn up. There are a number of councillors who aren't on any committees. You know, it's a struggle. I mean, I believe that the last community and social wasn't quorate. You know, finance regularly isn't quorate. it's just a waste of everybody's time. So we need to think seriously about the committees. We need to think seriously about people's commitment to them and commitment generally to the council. So, you know, we might have to reduce it to 4 as a pro tem solution, but I think we need to seriously look at our committees and look at the membership. And I put forward a proposal about a year or so back, you know, let's reduce it to 3. And then there's an outside chance that at least all those 3 will have a reasonable number of members. And, you know, perhaps there should be an expectation that every councillor stands on at least one committee, rather than people being able to choose to do none at all.
Okay, so we've got an election in May where I'm sure lots of people will change, and there'll be lots of toing and froing, and there'll be, you know, people who'll be beyond some that but I would suggest, as we've only got, what is it, 8 months, is it, or 8 months till the 10 months till the next elections. I think at the moment we just put it down to 4, and then the new council pick it up as one of the things on the agenda item that they, you know, if they choose to restructure the whole committee structure, then that is up to whoever's there at the time. So
yeah, I would suggest it's more sensible, because the very first meeting will be the AGM, and something like this would need to be agreed at the AGM. I think if we can actually have at least a proposal ready so that that can be looked at, rather than wasting another year of spending every month scrabbling around, sitting around saying, oh, well, here we are, there's only 3 of us or 2 of us, whatever, we're not quorate. That's another 2 hours of our time when we could have been doing something else. You know, let's at least look at some options this year.
Okay, well, we will, if we just vote to move the number of the committees down to 4, what is it, a minimum of 4? So all those in favour of that? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, Chair, just to correct your word, and not the committees, the membership of the committees, otherwise we'd be chopping 2 committees off tonight.
Yeah, okay, so the membership of the committees to be a minimum of 4, those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it was still the core at 3, yes, definitely. Okay, and I'm sure, Carrie, you've got time to come up with something, and you've got time to come up with something, Rob, to view for the next council, should you wish to. So that's a discussion for another day, I feel. Okay, so is it back to you, Carrie?
Yes, well, it's item 17, which is to vote to go into closed session, I think, is it?
There's 2 items on the last one.
It was one or the other.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Okay, we voted for that one. Okay, so all those in favour of going into closed session to discuss financial and HR matters. Thank you. That's covered. That's passed even. My brain's gone.
Oh, thank you.